History often remembers conquerors by the wars they won. But once in a generation, the world is changed by a man who chooses patience over vengeance, perseverance over bitterness, and moral power over violence. This is the story of Nelson Mandela, a man who spent 27 years in prison, yet emerged without hatred. A man who was labeled a criminal, but became a global symbol of freedom. A man who taught the world that true power lies not in domination, but in self-mastery. This is not just a story about South Africa. It is a lesson for anyone who has ever been tested by injustice. For anyone who has waited in silence. For anyone who wonders whether patience and perseverance still matter in a ruthless world. Nelson Mandela was born on July 18, 1918, in the small village of Mvizo, in South Africa's Eastern Cape. His birth name, Rolihlahla, loosely translates to pulling the branch of a tree, or more poetically, troublemaker. He was born into the Thembu royal family, raised with a deep respect for African tradition, storytelling, and communal leadership. From an early age, Mandela observed tribal elders resolving disputes not through force, but through listening. Years later, Mandela would say that leadership was not about shouting orders. It was about guiding people quietly toward consensus. Even as a child, the seeds of patience were being planted. Mandela's journey took him to Fort Hare University, one of the few institutions open to black Africans at the time. There, he encountered a system designed to suppress, not empower. Apartheid, a brutal system of racial segregation, dictated where you could live, work, love, and dream. Based solely on the color of your skin. Mandela did not begin as a radical. He began as a student who refused to accept humiliation as destiny. After being expelled for protesting unjust policies, Mandela moved to Johannesburg. There, he saw apartheid in its rawest form: poverty, police brutality, and legal oppression. This was the moment when patience met purpose. In the 1940s, Mandela joined the African National Congress, ANC. At first, the resistance was peaceful marches, petitions, civil disobedience. But peaceful voices were met with violence. Mandela faced a painful truth. Freedom would not be handed over voluntarily. He helped form the ANC's armed wing not out of love for violence, but from desperation for justice. In 1962, Mandela was arrested. In 1964, he stood before the court and delivered words that would echo through history. "It is an ideal for which I am prepared to die." The sentence was life imprisonment. Mandela was sent to Robben Island, a barren prison surrounded by cold ocean waters. His cell was small. His bed was stone. His work was breaking rocks under the burning sun. He was stripped of dignity, forbidden to speak freely, read newspapers, or see his family regularly. Years passed. Then decades. But something extraordinary happened in that cell. Mandela did not allow prison to imprison his mind. Instead of growing bitter, he grew disciplined. Instead of seeking revenge, he studied his enemies, learning their language, their fears, their psychology. He discovered a profound truth. Hatred imprisons the hater more than the hated. Patience became his weapon. By the 1980s, the world began to change. International pressure mounted. Sanctions crippled South Africa's economy. Mandela became a global symbol even while behind bars. The government offered him freedom. On one condition: renounce the struggle. Mandela refused. Freedom without dignity was not freedom. After 27 years, in 1990, Nelson Mandela walked out of prison. He walked slowly. Calmly. With no clenched fists. The world expected anger. Instead, he spoke of reconciliation. In 1994, Nelson Mandela became South Africa's first black president. He inherited a nation on the brink of civil war. Yet instead of revenge, he chose unity. He invited former oppressors into dialogue. He wore the Springbok rugby jersey, a symbol once hated, to unite the nation. Mandela proved something radical. True power does not destroy enemies, it transforms them. Nelson Mandela did not win because he was the strongest. He won because he was the most patient. He reminds us that perseverance is not loud. It is quiet endurance. Day after day. Year after year. In a world addicted to instant results, Mandela teaches us the value of long vision. In a world of anger, he teaches self-control. In a world of division, he teaches forgiveness without weakness. Mandela's greatest lesson is simple. You may be confined by circumstances, but your spirit is always free.